3, 2, 1. And we should be live right now. Hello guys, welcome to another end of the year roundtable, and this time it's Tamil cinema focused. I'm Nona Prince, if you don't know me, but I'm joined by some great guests, great panelists to talk about what this year has been for Tamil cinema. We have Ashameera, we have
great
Sudhir.
guests, great panelists to talk about what this year has been for Tamil cinema. We have Ashameera, we have great.
That's my problem.
You too.
Yeah, that's wrong. Okay, we have Vishal Menon, we have Raunaq, and I'm also here. So thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Always happy to be here.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Actually, I have put up a poll in the chat asking how much will you rate Tamil cinema in 2024, and there are options from 1 to 3, 4 to 6, 7 to 9, or 10 on 10. So before I reveal you the answer from the poll, I would like to hear from you guys. How do you reveal
Probably
the whole
the
year?
worst group of people you could ask this question to, I think.
Does anyone remember what came out last year? Because I don't. I'll have to check on the.
Oh wow!
It's always like this. It's always like a mid-year.
Yeah.
It's never been a spectacular year.
About,
Something.
About 2 by 10 for the first half, about 8 by 10 for the second, I think.
Okay.
I think it's pretty much like a similar year, no? Did we have Varis Toniva last year or the year before?
Yeah.
Last year.
Okay. Varis Toniva, we had Parking Chitta, Vidhuthalai Part 1,
Yes.
Dada, Good Night.
Yeah.
Jailer.
Actually, yeah, last year was great.
When you say last, you're talking about 23, right?
23,
Yeah.
23, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But now
was
that
pretty
we are in
good.
December, all the last year and next year
sorry.
we started. That's fine.
I think 23 was better. 24 doesn't match up that much to 23, but for the films that didn't work out for a lot of people, it worked for me. So I'm happy only, or maybe I'm generally just very content and no fucks given in life. Like I just start enjoying it. Yeah.
No, I
Nice.
think,
We're going to get
I think it is
Nona's
an
channel
inconsistent year,
banned.
no?
What?
No, like
Sorry,
Sudhir said, I think for the first 6 months, it is a very, very bad year.
Yeah. Very
Then
dry
it
year
got
actually.
better. Very dry year. Maybe because of the elections or something. No, so the first 6 months there was hardly any releases, and then there was a good period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had, I think first half we had Lover, and
Yeah.
we had,
We had Blue Star.
Blue Star.
I like Blue
Yeah.
Star. I think Blue Star not many people like, but I don't know, it really worked for me. Then
One of the first, decently good films that to come this year.
Yeah.
Blue Star.
yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely not an unlikable film.
Yeah,
It's not
definitely,
unlikable,
definitely.
but when I said I liked it, be like, "Idhil enna irukku?" Oh, sorry, Nona. It means like what is there in this?
He watches more South movies than us.
Tamil,
I
I
think
think
now
a little
he-
bit less.
I mean, I think the film was very setting specific, right? We hadn't
Yeah.
seen Arakonam before.
Yeah.
I like some of the rootedness of the film, I think, and it stood for good politics, speaking about cricket in a very unusual way.
I was very entertained.
Probably a
like,
bit too much cricket, I think.
but is that a problem?
Yeah, but coming back to the question he actually asked, I don't think anyone's, except for Sudhir, no one's actually given numbers.
Sudhir gave a number.
Yeah, he
said
did.
2
He said
for
the
first half
could do,
and 7
Oh,
for
okay.
second half ke 8. Yeah.
8. Okay.
I think
You
it's
guys wanna go?
6,
Yeah.
6 for me. Yeah, overall it's like a 6 for me.
Okay.
Actually,
Yeah,
7.
pretty much the same for me as well. I'm going with 6
Okay.
because it's been a very mixed year overall. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Vishal?
I mean,
People
just
thought-
like five for me. I think last year was better. Even the films that are good or whatever. I don't think the films that we're going to be talking about next year and stuff. So 5.
Okay.
Yeah, Vishal is just showing off because Malayalam film industry pretty much took away everything.
Had a banger.
No, I mean, some of us
Raunaq,
are
you're
truly
also
grateful
Madhu,
for it
bro.
because for the first 6 months we might not have had much to watch.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I think that also helped Malayalam cinema because there was nothing else to watch and people just wanted
course,
something
yeah.
and that just helped. So the poll says 41% to 7 and 9, between 7 and 9. For
7
the
and
whole
9.
year. Yeah,
Okay.
Recency bias.
that's true. One question, I think what Raunaq said, right? I watch less Tamil films than Malayalam because when I go to watch them in theaters, there are no subtitles. Vidhuthalai.
Yeah.
But coming to my one, before we get into our films, one question I want to ask. I made a video talking about why Tamil cinema, how great it is, how diverse it is with its content and with the amazing talent it has and the resources they have. Why haven't they really, cracked at a pan-India success, except from the robot franchise, you can say, with Shankar. But they have amazing, like, I think you can say Kamal Hassan did it, Maniratnam did it before it was a term, even pan-India. But, now recently Telugu has taken it next level. Kannada films had all 3 films which went to the extreme, box office numbers. Malayalam cinema, for its size, this year at least went to 200 crores, multiple films, 200 crores, 100 crores. That's very new for them. And like Bollywood also last year was outstanding, but this year again was a dip. But Stree 2 came back with a big number. But Tamil cinema is somewhere which has not really cracked that. And I, talked about my reasons for it. But what do you guys think? What is the reason?
This is like a separate 3-hour conversation. No, there are too many factors, I think. But I think the main thing is Hindi audience. Like, you need Hindi audience for it. And for Hindi audience to watch it, I guess you need
subtitles.
Not some people are not. It's not going to work with subtitles and all. You think
Nona
part was a hit because of subtitles. It's not because of that. I think it's just because of the way. It's a lot to do with. This is just my opinion. Okay, so I think it's a lot to do with Hindi cinema itself, and last 10-15 years, what it's lost in terms of commercial cinema. Those single screens and everything, no one was serving. But Telugu cinema started serving, they have been showcasing their dubbed films in Hindi since the early 2000s on Setmax and all that. That's why Allu Arjun has like such a strong fan base, right? And so they built that fan base like that. And that flavor for that single screen comes from Telugu. We've not been able to crack that. And the second part is the promotions bit. I think Vikram had like a really good campaign in terms of going all out. Then you had Kanguva recently, but that went in a slightly different direction, right? So yeah.
I think one common factor among all these films that seem to be doing well is how well you handle the hero moments, I suppose. No? Whether be it Pushpa or Maharaja also, that did really well. I think if you end it well and you end it in a very powerful note, where you're rooting for one person who probably is relatable for you and your style of life, I suppose. I don't know, these underdog stories, would that make sense? Do they tend to do well when done in an efficient way?
It's very difficult. No, first it has to become like a huge hit here, and then how will the Hindi audience watch it? Like, for example, Maharaja, people watched it on Netflix only. I mean, of course,
I don't think Hindi was a very important market for Maharaja. I don't think they were.
It wasn't.
Netflix.
It wasn't.
Yeah,
Later,
it was only after it came on Netflix. First of all, I think I'm not really sure of how the multiplex deals work, because I've heard that there are some issues that our producers or our films have in terms of cracking that deal, in terms of the numbers or anything. So hence they don't get as many screens as they would like ideally. I'm not sure how true this is, but apparently there's something like that. But more importantly, I think it's a matter of picking stories that first make sense to you. Picking rooted stories, which eventually, the most personal you get, the more universal it gets. So even though Pushpa didn't really work for me, if you take it as a film, it's actually very, very rooted in the space that it exists. Like it, the geography, the kind of lifestyle and all that. It doesn't pretend to be anything else. Take KGF for that matter. It's very rooted. Take Kantara for that matter. So, but what now? I think one thing that we've not really done is to take those stories that really, really sense to us, like really are rooted in our land. Instead, we go for a package kind of a thing where, we get stars from different industries so that, we get a market there. I'm not saying it's a right or wrong strategy, but that strategy apparently at least doesn't seem to help, when your story doesn't deserve all that.
I think not every filmmaker is able to handle that specific formula you're talking about, right? Like Vikram, for example, is not really rooted, right? It's almost...
Yeah, but with Vikram touch, I think Vikram was the biggest, the biggest lion's share of Vikram's collection came from Tamil Nadu, if I'm right. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Maybe Telugu state also.
Yeah, so I don't think it was a huge hit in Hindi. That's the point that I was trying to make.
It wasn't.
Yeah. So that's the point I'm trying to make, because I think we have had big hits for us, like, which makes sense for us. Like, even take Goat for example. Venkat Prabhu was saying that it might have not performed as well as it did in Tamil Nadu, just because it was very, very specific to Tamil Nadu. All the references, the culture, CSK culture, and everything. I think it was very, very specific to Tamil Nadu as a state. So it didn't really translate much, but that is in terms of references. But I'm talking about stories like, I think Kantara is the best example I can give for this, because I had not heard of Bhutakala until I watched Kantara, and but we all know, I think Inga Samiyadra is a thing in Tamil Nadu, where we've seen people go into that divine trance, but the form is very different. So Kerala has a similar tradition. We all have those traditions, but the forms are different. So when we see something like that, it is new as well as familiar. So I think those kind of stories have the potential to really, really cross boundaries, because it's the same thing that happened with, say, Parasite or Squid Games. It's not really about just how do I say it? It's not just about making it in different languages or making it accessible, which is also an important part. Promotion, making it accessible, ensuring it you're not just putting subtitles. First of all, you have to have subtitles. Second, it would be better if you have a dubbed version, than subtitles, because the mainstream audience prefers to watch the dubbed version than watching something with subtitles. So all these do make a difference. But I think there is something to consider in the kind of stories also we're tapping for, such kind of projects. Yeah.
I just want to add here that as an outsider, right, one big element I see with the films is that even when they're catering to pan-India audience, is that there's a lack of effort and attempt to really do a dubbing well. Like Rajamouli has said, he's talked about how he, sends his script to be written in different languages, then brings them back again so that he can matches a lot of dialogues for the dubbing.
Yeah.
For Pushpa, they got a Hindi actor like Shreyas Talpade and, invested time into the dubbing. So I feel like...
And the dialect.
Even the dialect, how to change and how to get the right... thing there, and they're spending effort into dubbing it, making it a kind of a Hindi film for the audiences. I feel like for Tamil, as you talked about, the issue with the theaters is that they have a deal with OTT platforms just for 4 weeks, which the national chains have said it has to be 8 weeks, and otherwise will not play outside Tamil Nadu. So I have to go to a local theater to actually watch the film, and they have no subtitles. The dubbing is not really that great. So I think these factors also, as an outsider, I feel like, okay, they are not even putting effort to make you watch the film.
Yeah, I think subtitles is still a huge issue for Tamil films, because I think Malayalam's really caught up in that aspect. I think now it's almost a given that any Malayalam film will usually have subtitles. At least that's been my experience of it. I think in the last few years they've definitely been very consistent in having it encoded and ensure that every screen or every state gets it, gets the subtitles. But I don't think we've been that consistent with subtitles, and also with dubbing, as you said, because I think for Pushpa, at least dubbing was one huge factor, because a lot of people liked the Tamil dubbing. And I remember for KGF also, I watched the Tamil dubbing, and a lot of people liked the Tamil dubbing, KGF 2 especially. So that could be one of the reasons as well. And
I think Pushpa 1 really worked because of the songs.
Yeah, they went viral.
And how they did for dubbing, they really got really good writers, like lyricists from each region, and they adapted. Otherwise, dubbed songs in other languages, they don't sound as natural to you. They use overcomplicated words and everything. It doesn't suit the milieu of that state.
I mean, there is only so many ways you can overcomplicate a word, like kisik, but
I said Pushpa 1.
Vishal sir, Sudhir sir, anything?
I find it strange because traditionally the pan-Indian industry used to be Tamil.
Yeah.
Like it was never Telugu. Telugu is probably like a 20-year, 15-year phenomenon or something like that. Traditionally, if you ask North Indians about the films that they watched, they were, I mean, apart from Roja and Bombay and all that, it was like Aparichit, like what is it? Aparichit, no?
Yeah.
Aparichit, Aparichit, the Nayak, of course. I think, and see, technically,
Kamal Haasan films from the 80s.
Kamal Haasan before that. Yeah, but I think Kamal Haasan is still a little bit of that Maniratnam audience, no? I think
Chachi
the masses were
420.
still...
That is I grew up watching that film.
That, Pushpak and all that. I think Upendra also said in one interview.
Sadhma is also remake, so.
Proper remake. Yeah. So I guess originally I think that audience was there, and even now technically, I don't know what happened to Baby John, but then technically at least the biggest director in Bollywood. Yeah. So it's not that the Tamil formula is not working there, and this is a Shankar formula, right? Yeah. So it's not that it's gone irrelevant or it's not working, but I think after a certain stage, a Tamil director has the option to make a Hindi movie. So that is probably like the next step for them, and apart from that, directors like Maniratnam, he probably pushed Ponniyin Selvan to make it like a pan-India movie, right? But maybe that is too niche and it is like based on Tamil history. It was a Tamil novel.
Too close to Tamil culture.
Too close
especially
to
the names and all. And you can't translate names, right? You can't.
No, and when you make a film like that, right, people are immediately expecting it to match up to a Bahubali.
Yeah,
right?
it's not even a name you can...
It's a different film entirely.
Yeah, it's not even a name you can convert and get a Hindi version. How can you convert Ponniyin Selvan to a Hindi version? So it was really, and it's not.
Yeah. The character names was the problem, I think. Yeah, I think Nona also spoke about it.
Oh my god! I actually made in Hindi a video breaking down part 1 to make people understand, and I couldn't even remember the name of Karthik's character. Names, so I referred to in the whole video, referred to him as Karthi. Don't remember his name. He's Karthi.
Yeah.
And even I think for Sri Lanka, they use different words, to depict Sri Lanka, and you get confused which location, like you are totally thrown off. It feels like, again, it's not, you have not dubbed it, or you have not, actually changed the titles on screen to make it understandable for an audience outside,
Like KGF 2, you've not put rocking star Yash in big text for each character that comes on screen, right? So it's difficult for them to catch up. Yeah.
And you have to wonder what they're looking for, right? If you're saying, hey, Tamil films aren't really working in certain centers or certain regions, like, is there a pattern for why these films work? What are they really looking for? Because we continue to make good cinema. There's plenty of evidence in this year, for example. So when someone asks me, hey, why is Tamil cinema not working across the country? Mostly, I know it's a very politically incorrect answer, but mostly internally I'm thinking, I don't care. Yeah. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, I am here, I'm watching these films and I like certain films, and I'm not really funding these films. So, I'm thinking, I saw a lot of good cinema. So I don't really have a problem with the quality of cinema that's being made. Yeah. So maybe I'm not the right person to answer this question.
No, as a football fan, like I know you're a football fan, right? So
yes.
Do you track the stuff when a player gets transferred to another club for how many million and everything like that? Like that? This is something a lot of fans do.
Or
right?
IPL auction.
Why the motivation you have to do that there is because there is an inherent affordability there. There is like, okay, who is the richest club here? Who are they buying? Maybe briefly, but even with respect to football, I don't think that's my primary focus of enjoyment.
Yeah. I think a lot of fans have that thing that if their film or their star's film does well or something like that, they have that bragging rights or something.
Yeah.
And it's also that a neighboring state is doing that, and they're doing it like they're crossing different milestones and all. So obviously you feel like, why aren't your films?
Yeah, no, but that's where I think you need to compare them with different other parameters. Like, who made this the main barometer of success? Or
everyone, all of us. And producers also.
Other reasons. No, I'm saying you have many other reasons to brag about your cinema, I think.
Yeah, like I don't think box office is the only barometer that we should have. Like maybe it can be one of the barometers probably we can have, but that doesn't mean that it's the only thing that people should be focused on. And just because we've not touched a certain benchmark, it doesn't mean that we're not doing well. Because I feel like each industry has their own strengths. If you take Telugu cinema, I don't think they're as diverse as we are in terms of the kind of films that they make. We're somewhere in between Malayalam and Telugu, but Malayalam doesn't have the budgets that we do. So each industry has its own set of strengths as well as their own set of restrictions and limitations. So for me it actually feels like comparing an orange to an apple. But if you're going to do that, then you also have to ensure that if you're going to at least compare it, ensure it's the same fruit, you can compare different types of mangoes, but you can't compare an orange to a mango, because right now that's how it feels. If you're not having the right kind of deals, or if you're not having the right kind of screens right number of screens to get your film showcased, then how do you make this comparison in the first place? So which is why it feels a debate that's not that seems just very
endless.
How do I say it? Yeah, endless. It just keeps going on and on and on. There's no actual solution or an answer to the question.
Yeah, I feel like
or at least we shouldn't, we don't have that option maybe, but the guy on Twitter who is the fan of a superstar, he is watching it like a sport, right? For him, it's a sport.
Yeah.
He's a fan of a particular star. That star is being compared to a superstar of another level or another tier or another industry. So for him, everything is number.
Yeah.
And producers are also adding fuel to that fire. They're saying this film is going to do 1,000, 2,000 crores and everything like that. And then when the film doesn't match in terms of quality, they're like, why are you fighting about numbers? Who asked you to talk about numbers and all? It's just going round and round.
Yeah, but as Asha said, right, we aren't really comparing one film with another mostly. It's now become an industry warfare sort of thing on social media, right? So if you're encompassing all the films under one industry and pitting it against all the films of another industry and saying, hey, they are doing better, then I don't know. That doesn't seem like a fair contest.
I feel like it's also about the reach the film should get, but it's not getting. Box office is equivalent to how much people came to theater to watch it, which I think should increase for a Tamil film also. I feel like if I don't know if this because of you guys coming here, if anyone in the industry watching this, if you look at a Bahubali or a RRR or a KGF or a Pushpa, if you look at that, we are as an audience, I have no idea who Prabhas is when I saw Bahubali or Yash and KGF. I am watching that character being amazing and awesome. It is the writing for that character and depiction of that character which makes it give you that high, star power. Whereas if I watch a Tamil hero film, I feel Rajinikanth. I don't see a character. I see, Vijay. I don't see a character he's playing. But I would say the only person in Tamil who's actually doing something, when I see a Leo, when I see a Master, there I feel like I'm watching a character do different things. And I feel Leo didn't release national wide, like that. And LCU is the biggest thing right now. I think everyone knows LCU in the whole India. They are looking forward to it. But if you don't release it near, people, they cannot go watch it, then they'll consider it as OTT film. That OTT will come, I'll watch it. Why should I go to theater? So I think that attitude is something I have faced. But coming back to a lot of people, there are a lot of things they have pointed out in the chat about the actors and the fees and this and that. But I think we should move on to and that was the thing, right? I think it was a smaller film, the big hero films didn't work that well for me. But it was the smaller films that I didn't even hear about them, and I saw them, I was blown away. So let's come to our list of films we're going to talk about. So first is the biggest surprise of 2024 for a Tamil film for you guys, that you were really surprised. It could be in a good way, bad way, but you didn't expect it, or you didn't thought of while watching before watching the film that this will be something so amazing.
I think some of your other questions deal with the unpleasant surprises a bit more. So
let's stick with good surprise.
Yeah, for me, I think because I've started actively lobbying for a few films, I think in this roundtable I'm going to do that for Meiyazhagan, I think. And the surprise and such a pleasant one for me was that a film, could have two men in conversation, lack a serious plot. And the biggest conflict or a point of, psychological issue for the protagonist is that he doesn't remember another person's name. And to make such a, powerful emotional film about vulnerability, harmonious existence, beauty of forgiveness, there's all of this, right? For me, that one moment where he goes to a wedding and he's holding the feet of a woman, but not romantically, just from the wholeness of his heart, right? The depth of his emotion and just being able to shed tears in public, without really being conscious about it. For me, those were the moments of, such incredible surprise for me, I think. I think another moment that probably stood out for me was again that fleeting touch of a woman who wishes she were married to Arvind Swami's character, but
when she on the back,
there is nostalgia. Correct. It's such a passing thing, right? If you looked at your phone once, there's a good chance you probably missed it.
Yeah.
Nostalgia, regret, but said in such simple, powerful ways, I think. And I think the biggest reason I picked this film is because it tells all of us that cinema doesn't need to be shackled under what we think. It doesn't need to belong to these rules. It can be anything it wants to be, and if it's done well enough, I think all of us can appreciate the beauty in it.
Yeah. Before I go to the next person, I just want to say, chat. Yes, I know there is no table here, but we all are sitting next before a table, and we are sitting imagining ourselves in a round. So don't no need to crack those jokes. Yes, continue.
No, for me, I think it was Labbar Pandu, because considering that we already had a cricket film this year, which was Blue Star, and which was a average film to begin with. It was not a bad film. I liked it. I liked aspects of it. So for me to have a cricket film again, and in general, we've had a lot of cricket films, right? So what new things are you bringing in? Like how, because I am not a huge, I watch cricket, but I'm not really a fan, fanatic kind of a thing. So for me, I wasn't expecting it to engage me as much as it did. It was a very, I had no expectations, no nothing. I just went with an open mind, and I really enjoyed the film right from get go. The first dialogue that's there in the film itself is a huge joke, and right from the start you're like, okay, yeah, right, okay, this is something that I can get going in, and I think it also has great rewatch value. And it kind of reminds me of this, this bunch of films, bunch of commercial films that are just a great mix of everything. Like you have comedy, you have drama, you have a bit of action, maybe not as much as Gilly or something, and you have good songs, but the kind of films that you keep going back to, the kind of films that you kind of enjoy watching it on TV whenever it comes. It really reminded me of that era or that, genre of films. So for me, it was Labbar Pandu, and it just came out of the blue. Yeah.
I just want to piggyback on what Ashameera said. I don't have that much to add, but for me also it's Labbar Pandu only. So how I found out about Labbar Pandu, I didn't even know such a film is coming out. So this year has been like a family break kind of thing for me. At least the first half of the year, I wasn't really watching that much and all that. So I just used to watch YouTube interviews and what people are talking about. And I saw Bharadwaj Shankar's interview of Harish Kalyan, right? So this was right before the film came out. And the first thing he said was that amazing film, unbelievable film. Really, he just went on for, I think, 2-4 minutes, and then Harish Kalyan also was really happy. I'm like, what is this movie? I have no idea about. So I didn't watch the trailer, anything. So I think one of the things that I do these days is sometimes not watch the trailer at all. If people are talking about it, just go blind and watch it. This is how I also enjoyed Manjumal Boys. I didn't even know Saubin was there in the film. I just knew that this film, a lot of people are talking about, people are recommending. I just went in blind, absolutely no idea about the plot. But coming back to Labbar Pandu, this is exactly what, a little bit of what Sudhir said, a little bit of what Ashameera said, right? There are these little things in the film, there is one character, Harish Kalyan's character says, hello, like I'm talking to you or something. Hello, don't do this. That's one small thing can be such a such a trigger to to go this wild on your ego, right? For the other character who takes everything like that seriously. And I think that's the commonality between Tamil and Malayalam films. Like these small nuances, like in Meiyazhagan, that touch on the shoulder and this stuff like hello and all that. And like Asha said, there is this era of films that came out in the early 2000s, right? Which Panchatantram, not Panchatantram exactly, but these family films, all the earlier Vijay films, the romantic dramas and everything like that, which had like great songs, simple scenes, maybe a few problematic comedy tracks, but other than that, you can watch it how many ever times you want. So films like Labbar Pandu, Meiyazhagan to an extent, not Meiyazhagan, I meant Tiruchitrambalam, right? Films like this, you enter the theater, it feels like you've gone back to the 90s, early 2000s, right? So it felt like that for me. So Labbar Pandu.
I think maybe I can also add one thing about Labbar Pandu here. Is that, I mean, with these, there's a new narrative, right? That says if you're aspiring for political correctness, if you're trying to speak about social issues, then you end up making really boring cinema. You know, that narrative seems quite widespread now. And Labbar Pandu shows that it needn't be that way. You know, you can stand for the right politics, you can speak about caste, you can speak about empowerment and all of that. But you can also, you can do that as well within the scope of making a successful film.
No, but I would also like to add that I think that narrative is not really valid in the first place. We've had great films that spoke about like very important issues, but like, for example, Sarpata Paramari, which was not a theatrical release, but it's one of I don't know.
One of the best Tamil films made.
One of my favorite sports films. The one that really deals with the nitty-gritties of sport. I see no merit in that debate at all, where people say, hey, you have to, films that talk about any kind of issues, not just, a certain kind, any kind of issues, touch even if you just randomly mention it, it's a boring thing. I feel there's no merit in that debate at all.
Right.
And I get where you're coming from, because it's actually a very, very common thing that's happening right now.
Make that point was also because
I'm not understanding the point. Like Asha, like what are you saying? Like if when a film is trying to make a serious point, there are people who dismiss it saying it's. I didn't get the point.
There is one narrative going on that Tamil filmmakers make a lot of these caste-based films or oppression-based films, and that they don't know how to do anything else. This is what few people from our own audience is saying, that this is why we are not reaching more people and all of that, which is like a bullshit narrative. At the same time, there is an opposite. There's another narrative also who are like, if there is politics in the film, you have to like it. Like if it talks about a certain ideology or left-leaning ideology or whatever it is, you are a Sanghi automatically if you don't like such films, right? If you're a Sanghi or you're a bigot or you're any of those names, right? So there are these two different narratives going on, but it's all.
But I think what Sudhir was saying was like movies like.
The reason. The reason I wanted to just take this moment to mention that is because in praise of Labbar Pandu, right, somehow the whole social angle of it seems conveniently getting ignored in a lot of these spaces. It's seen as a Janaranjagamana 90s sort of throwback to Tamil cinema and everything, right? Almost as if it has nothing to do with all these angles. So I thought, I should just add that it was also part of it.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. But I think we've done that before, and I think Labbar Pandu is another example that we can do it again. It's not just one way of talking about issues, or like there's no one way to go about it. So Vishal, what was your you're the only one who hasn't said anything so far.
I got confused with this point because
I was asking about your pleasant surprise.
No, he's still stuck in the previous point.
Oh, okay.
No, but one of the reasons I'm very disappointed with Tamil cinema this year is Meiyazhagan.
Okay.
Like what more, man? Like it's like, see, I really like Labbar Panda. It's a very good movie, but we have seen movies like Labbar Panda before, So it's a very good movie that does things perfectly well. Meiyazhagan is something new.
Yeah,
it's not a movie like that you'll find in any other part of the world, in any other industry, and like people who don't care about cinema, even if you just walk by a TV and you see Meiyazhagan, you'll get transported to that world. It's something else. So when you make a movie like that and then the movie doesn't even, break even, or it's taken out of the screens in 1 week or 10 days and all that, you're just frustrated with the whole thing, right? Like, what can you do? Like, what more can you do? And then for it to come back on Netflix and for everybody to talk about it, and the fact that the movie was cut becomes a bigger discussion point than the movie itself. The entire thing was such a mess, and like 20 years later on Twitter, people are going to say, oh, Meiyazhagan, oh, how did we do this to a movie like this, So I find that so frustrating, right? Like something could have been done, right, for it to work a little better. Imagine a director like Prem Kumar. Of course, he's got enough love after that movie. But when a movie like this flops, and when people are telling him, asking him to cut the movie and stuff like that, you're disturbing that man's vision, right? And he's not going to be able to think of this thing again.
Did you?
See, we don't know what happens behind closed doors.
No, but he said it in an interview.
Yeah, he said he took that active decision.
And Surya
cut
said,
it.
no need, don't cut your vision. And he said, no, I want to do it.
But if people are pointing out to him exactly which scenes to cut, that's not his decision, right? That's because somebody's telling him which scenes are the issues.
And if he wanted it to be cut, he would have cut it before the release.
Yeah, he would have cut it before, right? So people are telling him which scenes.
Interesting thing is that he did it just after the first show of the film,
No,
the first show got over.
Second day.
He went to edit.
I watched the full version.
No. He went to edit just after first show was over. He got the response. He went to edit and it was updated 3 days later.
Oh.
So,
okay.
Yeah. So I also saw the full version. Thank God.
But okay, fine. You did that theatrically. That itself was like a bad move, according to me, in the sense, I guess you have to do what you have to do if you think that it's going to make the film travel more, right? You're so close to it. And if suppose the producer is saying or the distributor is saying something like that, you'll do anything that you can to either trim the film, or you'll do anything to try and ban reviews like certain other film producers all try to do. So, but why does it have to be trimmed for Netflix? I have no idea, because I watched it on the first day and then I watched it on Netflix. It is a different film. I mean, it is not a completely different film, but it is a different film that entire conversation loses its that weight it had in the original right? Even if it spoke about so many different issues, but that is the point of that night and that kind of a conversation, right?
Exactly.
When you're drunk, what do you talk about? Okay, starting will be like your job and all that. Yeah.
Raunaq, too many people ask about, why is it relevant to the film? How is it pushing the narrative forward? But that's the point of the film.
That's the point,
The language of the film itself is like that. I can understand if it started from a different place, it promised something different, and then it went in a completely different direction. It's not like that. It had one proper, consistent tone throughout. It lived to it, and it's unfortunate that
for me, that around the time this conversation happens, I think it's somewhere around 2 to 3 a.m. in the film, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, latest.
At least that's what it seemed to me. Yeah. I'm like, anybody who sat up with a friend who's been talking for a while knows that in those spaces, you potentially tend to ramble. You probably go into other
you go into politics. You go into geopolitics and all of that, even though you're not making sense. That's a different topic. Nona won't be able to relate.
That's what I have to admit, actually, that those portions I was really confused. What is he talking about? Like the murder and the protest. I was like trying to figure out what happened in the news.
I think you also need a cultural understanding of these issues to understand what's being mentioned there, because they're not necessarily so explicit in terms of mentioning all the details of what happened there.
There's no
Right.
setup. Yeah.
I think Prem Kumar in the roundtable that I was fortunate to organize with him, he mentioned that he was really disappointed that many people did not even understand these issues. Many Tamil people did not know these issues. That they were not aware of Sterlite. They were not aware of what happened in the Jallikat issue. He was saying, yeah, they didn't even get what was being spoken. I think for me that was the biggest disappointment.
And
Can I just add one more thing? Sorry.
Say Ron.
No. It's an off take, right? I don't know if other people in the chat and all can relate, but see, I'm not a religious person or some spiritual person or something like that, right? But I am interested in the concept of God, and at least right now, though I don't have any certain rituals or anything like that. This film felt like Karti's character was actually God. I don't know if anyone else felt that way, but everything that he said, I have like a list of like 10, 15 things and all that. And I sent it to one journalist who was interviewing Prem Kumar, and Prem Kumar said, no, it's nothing like that. But it's an interesting thought. But
I understand why you were saying that, because he seems a bit too ideal. He seems a bit too pure, I guess.
No, not because ideal and pure. There are certain references, right? For example, towards the end, he says, forgive those 4 people. Right? He tells Arun Swami's character, forgive those 4 people.
Somewhere in the beginning, yeah.
No. It's after they go to his house only. After they like
the 4 people are the uncles.
Yeah, forgive those uncles and aunties or your relatives or something like that. He talks about forgiveness. He scores beer in Tamil Nadu so late at night, only God can do that. Walking on water.
That's a God I can get on board with.
So there's a lot of things. And the fact that you don't know what his name is, right, for the longest time. I mean, that is how I read it into it. The Prem Kumar dismissed it, but he said it's like interesting. So the film is beautiful because of that you can have different interpretations also of it, right? At least for me. Yeah.
Sorry, Vishal.
Yeah, sorry, Vishal.
No, see, for me, because we're watching that movie through Arun Swami's eyes, right? And Arun Swami is a guy all of us are relating to. We understand Arun Swami. Even if you don't know a lot about Arun Swami's past or his beliefs, he's still a guy, you know who he is. He's a figure-outable person. But if you don't, when a man is whatever, like Sudhir said, he's most drunk and he's talking to a person he loves so much and he's so vulnerable. And the last thing he says when he's most drunk is the absolute most honest truth about his belief system, right? And this is the first time we meet Karti and we know nothing about Karti. So technically, the most profound thing he's telling you is what you're removing about a person you're meeting for the first time. The fact that that person didn't tell you that, and the fact that a person told you that changes what we think about a particular person, right? So actually, the people who've seen the cut version of Meiyazhagan does not know who Karti is.
Yeah, it seems like
he's just a
jolly
somebody
character.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So in a 2 people movie, if you misunderstood this guy who's basically, if you're not seeing how real he is, if he's just coming in, is like he's almost like a fairy tale character. No? He's like annoyingly positive, annoyingly, happy. The fact that he's grounded is because of that conversation, and that is not there. So it's very disappointing, right? So that's why I guess I'm otherwise, who cares? Yeah, every review, all of us say please cut 20 minutes. If there is one movie we say add 20 minutes, it's this. So disappointing. So
I think that tells you how good the film is, that you just want to spend more time with these characters.
Yeah.
Now
I didn't feel the length at all.
Yeah. I would say I was someone who mentioned in my video about the second half and those movements. I didn't understand. But,
Vishal knows. He meant it for you only.
Yeah.
The chat says biggest surprise is Aran Manai 4.
I have not watched.
Yeah.
Again, no, I don't think.
Of the pleasant variety.
No, their biggest surprise was that.
It worked so well, maybe.
I don't know which movie that is.
I don't think this group is the right group for that.
No, it's not a group and all. I have not watched
No,
it.
yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
correct.
No, I don't
Don't
know.
worry about these people.
Oh.
No, Asha knows I have a lot of reservations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just watched any of Ashameera or Sudhir's roundtables in the past 3-4 days.
I tried at least the shorts, but even they are in Tamil and no subtitles.
Please don't watch
That's
shorts.
kind of-
Everything is taken out of context.
No, but the
God's
whole
No,
thing
I
is
am-
not
I am-
subtitled. So I thought at least the
Yeah,
shorts
I
are
don't think
subtitled.
they'll have subtitles also. I don't think
Yeah.
they'll add subtitles also. So
They don't have
Yeah.
for Tamil movies. So, but okay, anyways, so I was saying, yeah, for me it is, for me it's a Labbar Pandu.
Love
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
yeah.
For me, because I think I was watching that film, I'm like, now they'll go wrong. Now they'll do something which will not work. And that never happened, you know, the way they just wrap the whole story up so well. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. But let's move on to the next one, the biggest misfire of 2024. Now, Raunaq, do you want to change your background?
Yeah.
I think now
You're
Raunaq
change
should
your
say
background.
Kanguva, yeah.
That is
Inside
not
joke.
the biggest misfire. Yeah.
But yeah, basically, guys, if you don't know what misfire is, the chat, which like should have fired, but it didn't. Like it should have
No,
worked.
of course.
You know, everything was going for it, and just it didn't. Something went totally wrong.
Okay,
know
so
Yeah, sorry.
do I take the lead and quickly
Yeah.
mention that film so you guys don't have more points to make about that film?
Please.
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, biggest misfire obviously is Indian 2 for me anyway. This was also interestingly the film that I was most looking forward to this year. Because I think the first film, Indian, is probably among my all-time favorite commercial films. It does everything you expect in a great masala film: sentiment, songs, love angles. There's even a love triangle there, great music, social messaging in a very Shankar-esque way. And there you go. Yeah. I think he's very appreciative of it. And best of all, it's very emotionally honest too. And that was very unique about that film, I thought. You know, why does Senapati start killing? There's a proper reason there, rooted in the independence movement. It's brilliant. I mean, why is he violent? Again, there is a reason in his past. It's all, you know, tied. His method is again, you know, justified in his past and all of that. So, you know, when such a character is promised to be returning, I was thrilled to bits. I was eager to see how they would repurpose this character. You know, I'm eager to see how this Senapati would now react, whether this man would return in the flesh or in spirit, and how he would deal with the issues of today's world. But I would have happily settled for half of these expectations getting met. I think the true shock for me was that almost nothing worked for me. And I think it's worth saying over and over again, because the disappointment's going to take me many weeks, many months to get over. I still cannot digest that a sequel to the Indian has come this year and has gone. And I don't feel like I've met Senapati even once in that film. This felt like it was an imposter, you know, someone else in disguise, who was making strange figures out of saliva. He was making businessmen run like horses. I don't know what was going on there. But strange film, not in a good way at all.
So that means you are saying you're excited for Indian 3 on Netflix.
Is that the gist of what you just got from what? I would settle for a pleasant surprise, I think, right now.
No, the thing
Yeah, I
is,
think-
now whatever comes out, can it be worse? It can't. You can't, right? Now at least you have the editing table. You'll do something with it. You'll add some animation or change some stuff up. Indian 3, if it comes out, I think is going to do better than this. I want to watch Indian 3 because can anything be worse than this? So that is my only expectation. And I know that a lot of people give me shit for liking the film, but please understand the context of why I'm saying I'm liking it. Because when you're having a bad day, you're driving for a very long time, there's traffic, there are people fighting on the road, and then you just, in the between, after coming back, you just look at Chitra Arvind and social media, your day is automatically, like, it just lights up, right? It's so bad, it's good. That is my context of,
I mean, if I can just step in with just one more thing. I mean, Vishal and I have discussed Shankar cinema for the longest time. We would spend hours just talking about the pleasures in Shankar films, right? So part of the excitement was not just that Indian was returning, but just to see this filmmaker who's given us such joyful cinema in the past, just to see whether he can make it work again, because it felt like it's been a while since such a film worked.
Yeah.
So I'm like, can we have that joy, that nostalgia back again? So I guess that was also part of the disappointment.
Come back Indian.
Yes. Was your name Indian even before this, or it's after this answer that you changed your name to Indian? Nona.
Oh,
I didn't know this.
this is a different email ID I'm using.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So same thing.
Nice observation.
Sudhir also, with like Indian too, right? I mean, same thing. I watched that. There was a re-release, of Indian some 2-3 months before.
Yeah.
Even that,
There
like
was,
when I was watching that, it looked like it's not a real remastered version. I think. Okay, it looked like they put it on Canva and they put it out, so it didn't feel like a proper remastered movie. But even that got me so emotional, right? And it's a real movie, And for me, Indian 2, I want to watch Indian 3 and somehow figure out a way to maybe compress both together and watch it as one movie, because I find Indian 2 to be a very it's not a repetition of a Shankar movie like I think most people think it is, because it's Indian 2 is a movie that says, in every other Shankar movie or whatever, the hero and the people around the hero, they're the only ones who are not corrupt. Everybody else is corrupt, and the hero and hero's family, they are all good people. But in Indian 2, the movie starts with a place where the corruption is so prevalent that the actual corrupt people are people in your house. So I think that is an extension. That's the next stage of the Shankar movie. But of course, we never got to see what this guy is taking, like where is he taking that particular idea? It's a damn fascinating idea, right? Because entire India is corrupt, everybody is corrupt, only our family is not corrupt. That's what we used to think.
Yeah.
But everybody's paid a bribe. Every Indian today has paid a bribe at some point in their life, and we expect a crime-free society. So as a concept, I feel Indian 2 starts in a very, very fascinating place. But because I don't think we'll ever see the third part in the way it's supposed to be seen, or we didn't see the one movie that it was supposed to be, we're never going to figure out what this guy wanted in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was a brief moment in his family, right? Where you saw promises of this idea being fleshed out briefly. Yeah. See, because 20 minutes, like every Shankar movie probably got made this way. Okay, like probably that entire chase scene on that unicycle or whatever that is.
The Dark Knight moment.
Probably he shoots for 30 days and he's got 30 minutes of footage. But because eventually it has to be one movie, they figure out a way to cut it down to a 3-minute sequence or a 4-minute sequence. So just as you're seeing the best, like imagine you shoot an action scene for 30 days, they chop it down and you're seeing it in 3 minutes, everything is going to look amazing, right? I think that's what a Shankar movie used to be. But in this, when you're seeing like the making footage and you're just sitting in one theater and this guy is playing with a spit for half an hour and stuff, right? So it's just not like, it's just going crazy. So I agree. It's a disappointment. It's not like, I don't think it's a movie like Kanguva where there is no vision right from the first place. Like from the first day they started making it, it's not gonna. There's no miracle that would have happened for that movie. Indian 2, something went wrong, and I feel that is a better movie than a Kanguva type movie.
A bad film is always better than a boring film. This is according to me, right? I'm not saying Kanguva was boring. I'm just saying.
You had a good line. Just want to use it.
I actually saw Indian few days before Indian 2, so I actually didn't have any expectations. Yeah, for the first time, and I was like I was blown away with the ending. Okay. And
Nona's 2008 born.
No. Remember, I told you once my first film in theater was
Gadar.
Are you
allowed to be on YouTube?
Indian underage society.
But Indian, I didn't. Again, as you said, the concept was really cool, and the ending was like Dark Knight. It's just that it is extended for 10 minutes. And I like the concept that the whole world is corrupt, but he's not, and he becomes a villain in society. So I like that idea, really cool. But yeah, it's just extricating throughout how much you go through, and there's no character and there's no story wise there's nothing much.
You're talking about Indian or Indian too?
Indian too. Oh, Indian! I was. Oh my God! I saw your faces coming at me.
Because you started by saying you just recently.
Indian. I really liked. The ending was really. I didn't expect it will go there. No wonder Kamal Hassan wanted to play both the characters.
For the longest time, right, in this film, I thought it was Senapati's son in disguise as the old man.
Oh,
because I didn't feel like
yeah.
Because I didn't feel like I was watching the old man for sure. So I was like, okay, maybe they know what they're doing. Maybe I should just wait till the end of the film. Then I will get that big twist. Maybe the old man then
Indian
comes
3?
all frail and whatever.
Indian 3 is the grandfather or something of Senapati.
Then I would be really pissed off if that was the story.
Or this Siddharth's office or whatever, they make it look like he's got a guy with that suit and stuff. No, why can't you just
I know, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
By the way, social media doesn't work like that. How they show it.
Just like in Batman films, right? I mean, because the real Batman is not here, let's all dress up as something and see whether we can create some change. Yeah.
And then the real guy comes. Imagine
You're wearing hockey pants.
Yeah.
Black is the most.
I feel like after a certain time, right? I feel like people shouldn't actively involve themselves in the fighting itself, because it's a bit too, especially in a film like this, right? I wish he had been relegated to the background, sort of being a guiding figure. That would also be more in alignment with the times, I guess. But it's like now we are part of a writer's room. Anyway.
But that we didn't know that until Jailer, right? We don't know what that will look like. I think we figured that this is a cool way of doing this after Jailer. Otherwise, it's like the hero's not fighting. You'll be like, oh, like I wasted the 40.
Like even in Kala, he's a very reluctant fighter, right? For example, I mean that's a film that worked for me. I really liked it.
No, but right from the first scene, there's that other fight on that flyover, right? That's like 20 minutes into the movie. So there's no.
So therefore, Misfire.
Yeah.
So Vishal, for you also it's Indian too?
No, Kanguva is a bigger Misfire, I feel. Yeah, I mean, both.
Okay.
Yeah. Misfire, because Kanguva, like, the entire conversation we started with, right? I don't think a production company or Surya could have done more to get that film outside Tamil Nadu. Everything they could do, they tried to do.
Yeah.
In terms of marketing, in terms of spending money, in terms of making sure it releases in 5,000 screens.
Casting the
and for this, the casting and I don't know. So it was very disappointing. I don't think Indian 2 that way was promoted like a pan-India movie or anything like that. So,
it was, but just not to this level.
Not to this extent,
Yeah. I think, for me also, it's Kanguva, even though I didn't find it as bad as the other people. Like anyone else I spoke to, after I watched the film, I said, it's not that bad. I don't know. I have no idea, because this was the first show, right? Sometimes after you watch the first show, you're not exactly sure what to feel of it for some movies, right? And you could be completely wrong in terms of relating with other people. Right? So for me, I think that initial portion, if you'd done something different about it, it could have been a slightly different movie. I'm talking about that Disha Patani and
yo-yo portions. Yeah.
Yo-yo portions. though even that line makes me really happy all the time. So
they cut out that song for the Netflix release or OTT release.
Yeah.
They cut out 20 minutes. Song and 20 minutes they chopped off.
For me, the disappointment of Kanguva is not that those portions did not work, because even while those portions were going on, right, I'm just sitting there, I'm waiting for the real story to begin. I'm like, you guys play the fool, you do whatever you want, let's go to the flashback and see the real thing. But for me, once you go back into the real thing, it still doesn't work. It still feels incredibly rushed for some reason. There are too many ideas there, none of them getting fleshed out. And I mean, when that portion doesn't work, then it's a problem. So I'm not somebody who's feeling disappointed with the film because the Pudichadananda, Mudichadananda, that portion doesn't work. Yeah, that I'm okay with.
I think Kanguva is an example of, you not having like like you really believing in what you have and you just want to do so many things and add a different time, this also, and Portuguese also, and Bobby Dale also, and this also, and that also. Like, you don't trust the world you're building. Like, I could have just what happens in this village, because the frame of that village, one frame is enough to tell me how dense it is. It doesn't look like a set. But the moment you try to, whatever you just jumbled up together just to give us a big high and all, it doesn't work. I would have rather spent 2 hours just seeing what happens in this village than watching whatever you can, build up.
Absolutely with you.
Ashameera, your Misfire, same or something
I think
different?
I will have to
I
go
think
with Indian
sorry,
food.
Asha, for the next question, we'll let you go first.
No. I think for all the reasons you've just said, I would pick Indian 2 more than Kanguva, because I felt that Kanguva at least had moments, or like, I felt that I could at least understand where the film went wrong, or like, I could see moments of what they were trying to do. With Indian 2, I think it was not being able to understand how it's the same character in the first place, as Sudhir was saying. It really didn't feel like the same film or the same character or the same franchise. It just felt like something complete, even though it's a very fascinating idea, as Vishal mentioned, which I completely agree with. It's a great idea. It's a great thought, a terrific one-liner for a film that belongs to a franchise like Indian, but what did they actually do with it is just a complete mockery of that idea. So, which was, I think, very disappointing, considering that it's a filmmaker like Shankar coming back with an actor like Kamal Haasan. The combination by itself is so huge and so,
sacred.
And you expect for these kind of combinations, right? You really want them to come back, and like when they're coming back, you really want to see what they've done and all that. So I think more than anything else, I think that was, I could not see Senapati on screen. I didn't feel like I was seeing Senapati on screen, and I didn't like Senapati, which was also very, I didn't like in the sense I wasn't able to.
Yeah, he was not that character at all.
No, I know what you mean.
No.
Yeah. He
He
wasn't
felt
an
more of a
authentic guy.
psychopath, if I'm using a harsh word, like I apologize, but I really can't think of a better word, he was not the Senapati he was in the first part. Yeah, so it just felt like a completely different character and person and anything, and that I think ruined the film for me more than anything else. Everything else I would have been able to forgive. This I wasn't able to, because it's one of the most beloved characters that you have, and such an iconic film by itself. So yeah, for me, Indian 2 more than Kanguva on that.
No, I totally understand what you're saying with respect to that psychopath comment, because when he's killing, he seems strangely happy about it.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, when was Senapati reveling in his murders?
He was. Yeah, if you watch the first part, you never sense that idea of, hey, I really like doing this. It comes from a more place of frustration more than anything, and this place of I'm forced to do this.
Yeah.
I think that change was very, very disturbing to watch for me. Yeah.
I think any film which makes its heroes' actions, put it on, question it. It's an amazing concept, but again, the execution is not that great.
Yeah.
And it's not a different filmmaker also. It is, it's the same filmmaker. It is the most legendary film. So Nona, you watched it recently. Like, I think all of us feel this way about, I mean, though I like some parts for different reasons. The biggest disservice that the film did is that this is your childhood, right?
Yeah.
It ruined, kind of destroyed your childhood from the moment he appears on screen like this with that long hair, and then he's converting Gulshan Grover into, I don't know, a woman or
some animal.
I don't know what the hell.
Yeah,
and he automatically gets makeup and mascara and all. Like, I don't know.
Let's just not go there, please.
Yeah.
Someone talked about that.
I think we might have a very interesting YouTube video: Kanguva versus India, Vishal versus Asha.
Kumar says Shankar without Sujatha sir is just grandness without content.
I don't that I mean I'm very sick of that debate about it because you know how exactly how do you know what Shankar's written, how Sujatha's written, you know, because and every single time people call out all the problematic scenes, you know, the colorism, the racism and the sexism and all that, it's all Shankar's fault, whereas everything that's good it's Sujatha's, you know. So that's not fair, right? There's no way people can figure out a collaboration, and that one particular point I feel is very like there's no real way to kind of understand.
Was Sujatha still alive during Endiran?
Endiran was based
I think
on his book.
halfway into it, if I'm not wrong.
Endiran was anyway based on his book. Indira.
If I remember right, I think he did half of Endiran and then the other half was written.
I think the writing was done, but I think he died before the release.
Yeah. Anyway, the book is there. So, and it also has a sequel actually. It's called Meendum Zeno. But Endiran 2 is not inspired from that. Yeah, it's not inspired from the book.
That's the last great Shankar film, right?
Endiran, right?
Yeah.
Did anyone like Ice? You like 2.0?
2.0 I really like.
I like the concept.
Really? I prefer I to 2.2, I think.
No, 2.1 I can't handle. Yes.
Everyone's talking about game changer in the comments. Any hope from that?
No, anyway, coming back to Vishal's point, I just wanted to add one thing. It's just, Sujatha was a very, he really did a lot of things in terms of writing for Tamil cinema. That's for sure. I'm not saying, I'm not taking anything away from that, but that doesn't mean that Tamil cinema doesn't have any other writer at all. When people keep saying this, it doesn't really it doesn't feel right. There are a lot of writers doing good work. So if it's just a matter of finding a right writer, I think I'm pretty sure Shankar would have probably gotten someone.
Shankar's worked with Jai Mohan. Shankar,
he has Jai Mohan, who's one of...
Yes, Jai Mohan.
Yeah,
he's worked with all the top writers,
Yeah, so it's
I think they're looking at it as an equation, right? So once, the equation stops working, what is the missing variable here? And the obvious component there for them is, hey, this person isn't writing anymore. So maybe this is it. I think that's how they're figuring it.
But beyond that, he's a fantastic director. He's always been until a certain point, of course. But so it's not
I think it's a matter of even with Indian too, I don't think nobody's questioning Shankar's abilities as a director in terms of, how he is presenting his visuals, I don't think that's the problem. It's a matter of, do you need this or not? Or what are you trying to say? It's more about what than how or
somewhere in the beginning of the sequel, Indian 2, right? There were portions where he brings in these cartoon figures and VFX and all of this, right? I genuinely did not expect it to work as well today. I thought, these are all ideas from a, an older period of time, and I didn't expect them to work. But for that first 15, 20 minutes or whatever that was, these portions did work for me. I looked at it and I thought, there is a place for Shankar in our cinema still with all these ideas.
And it's his thing, right?
Yeah.
He started that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat asked me to say this. I don't understand this, but I hope you guys. Partha Bangal spoof is better than Indian 2.
Parida Bangal.
Parida Bangal spoof.
So, if that makes sense.
So Parida Bangal is a YouTube channel here. They're only two guys, Gopi and Sudhakar. They make funny skits based on things that happen around us and also movies.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and Sudhakar is great as a Kamal impersonator, I think.
Gopi.
Oh, Gopi. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
So let's come to our, I don't know if it's same or not, but favorite best films. If it's different, it could be, right? Like for me, Meiyazhagan is my favorite film of the year. I just connect to it very deeply. But the best is for me, Vaazhai. So what about you guys?
Okay.
Asha, do you want to go this time first? Yeah.
No, because I think I've repeated this answer in almost everything. So I think for me the best film is Kottukaali.
Yeah.
And I really really liked that film for a lot of reasons. You know what it was trying to do, the kind of language it adopted, the performances it gave. It was just very, very good, and I'm just glad that it was. I couldn't watch Pebbles. Like I caught it way later in Goa. Like very, very late. But I'm glad I was able to catch it in the audience, like in the theater with a mainstream audience and all that. So for me, it was definitely Kottukaali. It's the kind of cinema that sort of lingers with you for a very long time, Yeah. So for me, my best watch was Kottukaali in Tamil cinema. Yeah.
It just drops you in the action, you don't know what's
really
going
does.
on,
It
and
really
then you
does.
just understand it
Actually,
without being told.
there's the film opens with a woman crying, right? And the way Vinod Raj explained that shot in one of his interviews was just so beautiful, because what he said was, we all wake up with the hope that the next day is fine. We all do that. Like no matter how bad our day is, we go to sleep with the hope that tomorrow will be better, tomorrow will be good.
Yeah.
So the earliest, the dawn, you hear someone crying in dawn, which is supposed to be at dawn, where this hope is not yet mangled, or like is not yet ruined by the day, and you hear someone just crying at that portion of, you realize how deep that sorrow is, and and how that person's not found any other part, or like any other vent to express that sadness.
Yeah, sleep hasn't cured that sadness.
It hasn't,
and this is
it's
something
also
Vinod
that,
Raj mentioned.
Yeah, he did. And you really get that feeling when you watch that shot, even if you're not able to express it as well as he does, articulate it in such a nice way. You really get that sadness when you watch that shot, when you hear that woman cry.
About it, I think.
Yeah, so I think that film gave me a lot to think about in general. So yeah.
My favorite shot of the film is when this little girl comes and takes the bull, which no one's even everyone's just scared to. Like that's an outstanding moment in the film.
Yeah.
But I'll ask Vishal.
So much. Yeah.
I'll just ask
go
Vishal
on.
sir to say his movie, because I think he has to leave. He has a movie to catch.
Yeah, I have to watch
So-
Marco.
Yeah,
I
so-
have
Not watched it yet.
Okay.
the second time I'm watching it, like, because the movie you want to watch to see the expressions of people, right? Like I'm going with people who have very low violence tolerance, so I want to see what's gonna
That's
happen to
torture.
them.
Nice.
I want to catch it tonight if it's possible. You'll recommend it for sure?
See, it's
Beyond the
like an
violence.
extreme.
Yeah.
There's nothing beyond the violence.
Oh.
It's like eating those Korean noodles, right? It's not food.
But it's worth it. It's worth an experience.
Yeah, it's worth
That
an
was-
experience. I've seen a lot of violent movies, but I couldn't handle this.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. So it is crazy.
I have my thoughts, and Marco is a movie for me which I know I am in the minority, and I got so much hate. But anyways, Vishal sir, what's your best film, and then I'll let you leave because
No, see,
don't get
like
late.
Kottukaali is next level, right? It's something else. Like, like visually and all that. See, there is no way. Like, let's say we are invisible and we can walk around Tamil Nadu or whatever. There's no way we would have been able to see that happening, right? It's happening in like thousands of millions of places in Tamil Nadu, but then we'll never get to see it, right? And he showed it to us.
Yeah.
How else do we see that? Like that shot, do you remember that shot where that sister puts the tongue and then takes out that thing on Suri's eye?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh God. Yeah.
Like 200 years, I won't forget that shot.
Yeah.
So it's like, how else? Like, how will he would have seen that, right? He would have seen that happening in real life, and he's remembered it, and he's decided to put it somewhere, and we are able to see that. Otherwise, we'll never see that, no?
Yeah.
So he's another guy. I personally feel Pebbles is like unbelievable. This is maybe like already because it's the second time we're seeing his work and we've kind of got a rhythm and all that. It's probably like familiar, but he's something else, man. Like the way he looks at that world, we'll never be able to see the world like that. So we should be happy that we can see the world through somebody like him.
Yeah.
So that is something else. Yeah. The rest are all same, and I didn't like Amaran so much. So I want to quickly hear what you guys felt about Amaran. Because that was a very disappointing movie for me.
Oh, I loved it. I mean, I knew that this is not going to work at home. It won't be like a sit-at-home kind of watch and all. And then I asked some people who missed it.
But did that happen? Didn't people love it on OTT also?
Whoever I spoke to, they didn't like it.
Did not.
I watched on OTT. But I think the relationship worked for me, not the other things. As someone was in the chat also.
The USP anyway.
Yeah.
The relationship was the USP for the film anyway.
I feel the same way because it feels like the film is about two things, right? One is about this warrior going to, I don't know, Kashmir and saving the country or whatever it is, and dedicating his, sacrificing himself. But those portions I'm not really sure, even though I thought the fights were well choreographed and everything. But the love portion worked for me. I mean, it had no business working as well, but it still did. I mean, I did think there was genuine emotional honesty in those portions.
Even the chat is talking about Sai Pallavi's Malayalam.
Dude, you should ask Malayalis there.
Yeah, were you okay? Vishal,
No.
It was bad, huh? It didn't work for you?
No way.
Okay. I've heard one guy talking exactly like that in Tamil.
Because of the language?
Hasn't she worked in Premam? I thought she knew Malayalam.
She was Tamil in that, no?
Oh, okay.
But she's a Tamil in that. Yeah.
She's Tamilian in that, and another movie called
But I
Kali
think
also.
it was a very conscious effort to have that mix of languages. That's what I got from watching interviews, and that they've consciously tried to make Tamil sound like Malayalam.
No, but I'll tell you, if that same exact version had happened in reverse, right? You guys would have felt very offended. I feel if there was a character who speaks.
I don't know. I feel someone. I am someone who really likes accents.
Yeah.
That is not the reverse of
that was a caricature, man. Sai Pallavi wasn't a caricature.
Yeah.
It was. The Malayalam was. The language was.
Okay.
Jeta and all that. Nobody talks like that.
I can't even disagree with you because, I mean, you're homegrown, so...
You're the expert. Yeah, exactly.
No, but I would say not knowing the language, even the scenes where she's talking...
But Vishal, did the language stop you from even appreciating whatever?
I'm not able to. When she's crying in the end and all that, at that time, see, logically, she's been married to him for 8 or 9 years. After a point, even if she stops speaking in Malayalam entirely, it makes sense, right? Because she's been with this family and with this man for so long that she's learned Tamil. But in really important scenes, because... we love Sivakarthikeyan, we love that character, and emotionally there's no way that the final half an hour doesn't work, right? So at that time also, when she's trying to talk like that, I'm like, please, can I feel what I'm feeling? Can you talk to your husband later?
I was saying even the scenes between her and her parents and the family, screenplay wise also I didn't like them. It just felt too they just today have met for the first time on set and they're just doing this scene. You don't feel anything. There's no weight to them. So I don't know if it's just the language.
Interesting.
I'll also use the neutral acknowledgement of
Interesting.
The conversation is heating. Yes, guys. Nice conversation. Okay. Thank you guys. Hit that like button if you're having a good time. But yeah, continue. Best favorite films.
Yeah.
Who? Raunaq. Yeah.
Oh, Meiyazhagan only, hands down. Nothing new to add. It's just that I thought it won't work as a rewatch, but it hit even harder. There are, in the sense, the cycle portion and all his childhood portions and everything, and Arun Sami's younger version of himself taking all those kids in a line, and then all of that really, really worked for me. Even though they trimmed that Jallikattu part and all of that stuff, it really worked for me. Yeah.
I have something to say just before we go to Sudhir, in case he talks about a different film. So, I think Prem Kumar's USP or his ability to invoke our own memories when we see those characters is what makes him so unique. Because I remember when 96 released, nobody was actually talking about Ram and Janu. They were all talking about their own, school crushes, their own school reunions, about how their first love was, what really happened, and there were so many reunions happening at that time just because of that film, where people just caught up in their own, experiences. And the same thing I'm seeing for Meiyazhagan, because when I immediately after watching the film, everybody I spoke to was speaking about their own families, the kind of trauma or the conflict they had, the relatives that they lost touch with, their own, family homes, villages, all the cycle portion, like how you had a bond with your cycle. They were not really talking about the film itself.
Yeah.
But they were talking about their own lives. I think that's so beautiful that a creators just, managed to touch you so deeply that, it brings out so much from you. I think that's why
I want to talk for about 15-20 minutes about Meiyazhagan.
Sudhir. Okay.
I know. I was just joking.
Okay, bye guys. See you
Thank you, Vishal. So thank you for coming.
See you. Happy New Year.
Yeah, bye.
See you.
Happy New Year.
Bye. Yeah, now we can talk about Meiyazhagan.
No, I was just joking. I wanted to speak about Vaazhai. That's probably my pick of the year, mainly because we've touched upon some of the other films in a bit more detail. I think it speaks of crushing sorrow, but it also speaks of dreaminess, and I think it's a fascinating combination. And Mari Selvaraj is a filmmaker with such control over the medium, right? Such control over storytelling, and such unusual stories also, which don't necessarily follow the rhythm of what you would expect in an average story. And in a culture where, for example, just smaller moments, right? In Vaazhai, I was just recently watching Naatame, maybe that's why this occurred to me. I'll tell you why I was watching it later. There's a culture where women teachers are sometimes sexualized, right? When, among boys especially. Not once did something feel off when this film speaks of a boy expressing that most natural affection, that first sense of innocent attraction you feel, for a teacher, for example. I could name so many powerful moments like that, I thought. Politically powerful, obviously. But reminds us also, I think, we were talking about Kottukaali and how it shows us lives that we wouldn't otherwise get to see. For me, again, movies like Vaazhai do the same as well. It reminds us of the horrible lives that, many among us lead, that we are happily oblivious to, while we, think about our own problems and the realization, the crushing realization that this is a real story, right? That actual lives were lost because someone prioritized profit over safety. This is also in a different way from Indian 2 will keep me awake for many nights, I think. Such tenderness, while also speaking of, such intense anger. I'm never going to, just like Vishal said, there is one shot he's going to be thinking about for hundreds of years. I am going to be thinking about the sound of a lorry's horn, right? I'm going to be thinking about the sound the lorry makes. And each time I hear it, it's impossible not to think of Vaazhai.
Yeah. I feel like when a film makes you, come out with something amazing from within you. So in my review, I said something like it was based kind of inspired from his own life, in a sense.
It is,
Any kind of...
It definitely is,
And he kind of immortalized the people that, he loved and grew in cinema forever. Like they exist forever now, he kind of made them... He actually relived everything and then still had a restraint on what to show and what not to show, like to have the craft of his filmmaking not let loose, because he can overindulge into what he wants to show and how he wants to do it, but the craft of not doing too much, doing the minimum, not showing extra scenes, having those moments the way it is, and to justify every scene present on screen, it's outstanding. That's why for me it's overcritically.
When something horrible happens to us, what would break us even more is being unable to share with the world that something horrible has happened to us. To get people to see that these things are happening around you. and I think that is what he's able to do with these films, right? He's able to take his stories, the horror of these stories, and he's able to share this horror among all of us, and teach us in a way to stand for a certain side in matters of such obvious horror.
Yeah, I think we had.
No, just a side note to this. Try watching this film if you haven't watched this film already. It's called Honey Boy.
Okay.
It's a Shia LaBeouf movie, and he plays his own dad in the film. Right.
Okay.
So watch it, and then don't read anything else about it right now. But watch it, read about it after you watched it. It takes off from that point that you said. Right. Sometimes when you can't share what has gone through, what you've gone through in life, and then as filmmakers, you get that opportunity to immortalize those characters or the moments on screen. At the same time, a lot of filmmakers can't change what happened. What happened at the end was that reality, right? And filmmakers like Tarantino would probably kill Hitler and all of that, but you can't really change your own this thing. This is like an interesting thing of what they did in the end. I hope you don't find it boring or anything, but just try.
Well, like in this conversation, I think another film that I keep thinking about that moved me deeply is Spielberg's Fabelmans. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the man speaks of his family, the awkward things that happened, the intimate things that happened within his family. And at this age, he says, now I have the perspective to see it right. I needed all this time to see what happened to me right. And it's amazing that, people like Mari are able to see what happened to them this early with the, sense of perspective and detach. Maybe detach is the wrong word here, but be able to create that in cinema. I can only imagine the strength it must take to create, to make people. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
More than how the film is, right? In the sense, maybe it worked for some people, maybe it may not have worked as much as his previous films and all, but then it's so good that he got to make this film, just completely get it out of his system, and that it actually connected with a lot of people. It's actually a profitable film for him, right? So
extremely profitable.
Yeah. That validates everything that you've been through and wanted to share.
You're talking about Fabelmans, there's a shot where his parents are fighting, and he suddenly looks away and he sees himself shooting it. And that kind of exposed me that there are moments in life where something's happening and I'm actually thinking, how would I shoot this?
Should I make a reel out of it?
Not real, but how would I portray this situation in a film, in that sense.
Yeah.
There are some amazing comments I want to take. Roundtable without Vishal, not done.
This is that.
Yeah, that's a comment
don't talk about Meiyazhagan more than 20 minutes, otherwise Prem Kumar will cut it anyway.
Oh my god, I think he is going to be extremely sad on saying this, because I don't think it was his. I don't think he wanted to do that, but okay, fine. He had to live with that choice, sort of a thing.
Yeah, but when it comes to jokes, everything is par for the course.
Yeah.
But just to talk about Meiyazhagan again, right? That it's for me, it was like first 5 minutes, I was sold. This is my story, and the moments it shared. After that, even it went Indian 2 route, I would have not mind. Maybe not Indian too, but anything.
You're just saying things now.
Anything except Indian too, I would have just followed the story. But
that shot of those parrots, right, when they show Arvind Swamy actor for the first time. What a shot!
One shot that hit me harder than that is a shot of him going, in the bus to that town, and he just looks out of the window, and it's a shot of the road just going fast. I've so many times sat in at the end of the bus and looked at that. I felt like, I'm seen in the film in a sense, That's the
my
feeling.
favorite shot in Meiyazhagan is actually a cat coming out from a helmet. I don't know. It's just a very Prem thing to do, I feel, I don't know. It just felt like him more than anything else.
I think he has that incredible way of spotting and recreating all these things that we would have encountered and enjoyed, but maybe not remembered to reiterate in conversation.
Not important enough.
It also reminded me of this line from '96. The song, the first song, "Life of Ram." which is very, very popular. It seems like a motive. What that means is, the moment where you feel your cat, just walk through your legs, that moment of, warmth that you get from your pet, that life is just that. And I'm happy with that moment. That's what that line means. And to constantly see that as a motive where, he genuinely sort of immortalizes these small moments, the moments that we kind of see often in novels. Than in cinema, yeah.
Nice
So the kind of moments we often see we often experience while reading novels than in cinema. I think he brings those to the larger screen with such genuine, honest emotion. So.
Vijay Sethupathiy's character, end of 96, he has that box, which he keeps all his memories and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think Prem Kumar has something of that sort. In the sense, I think he's like a strong collector or documenter of memories. Right? I think there is some kind of a database or repository.
I mean, some people do it in things, some people do it in their head. I mean, strangely enough, I do too. I also have a box.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Nice.
Yeah. I have something similar to that.
I have a drawer.
Drawer. Yeah, more like it. Yeah.
Do you feel Prem Kumar is like,
I like how somebody made a joke about Meiyazhagan and we got started on it.
You feel like Prem Kumar is like, he loves, giving us an opportunity to go back into a nostalgia. But it's not about fixing things. It's not about, Arvind Swamy getting the house back. But it's about getting a closure through the process of revisiting it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I
it's
think,
like reconnecting with himself.
Yeah.
It's not about.
I think he's essentially doing exactly. I think he's just doing it for himself, and therein lies the beauty, right? When you look deep within yourself, you find everybody else.
Yep.
Damn.
Let's get to the second last question. I think we missed it, but a film you were in minority for. Your take on the film was in a minority.
I will let Asha and Raunaq go first because there is no way they're going to mention the same film that I'm going.
Okay.
I want Raunaq to go first because I think I've said this way too many times. I've gotten enough hate for it.
Which is probably why I'm picking all these strange choices now for these questions.
I think from Twitter we know Raunaq's take.
Yeah, so I'm not going to mention that. But I don't know.
Yes,
no.
Pushpa
is not a Tamil film. And I'm definitely not in the minority the way what it's doing, right?
Okay.
But let's not talk about all that.
Anyway,
Yeah. So my pick would be Captain Miller. I think a lot of people didn't really connect with it. I just found it's not a great film, but there are some really, really strong visuals and that really, really hit home. There's one shot of. There's this huge fire in the beginning of the film, and then
I know.
Oh yeah. When he shoots, yeah.
And he gives one kick to that English officer, right? And then he flies into the fire. I think these moments, even though the rest of the film doesn't really hold that much, but if you focus so much on some of your strengths, right? I think Arun Madheswaran, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
I think he really focuses on these really strong visuals. That is his strength. The writing, everything else has to follow. But sorry guys, just go on.
Yeah,
I just have to answer the door up once.
I actually really enjoyed Captain Miller. I found it really the massiness of it mixed with a really grounded narrative instead of going too over the top. I really like the mixture of it.
Oh wait, so I can say a pleasant surprise also, pleasant minority.
Yeah.
Is that an option?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Then I think I'll go for Bloody Beggar. I think I can sell that film a bit because I think it's not a film a lot of people enjoyed, but I really liked it. I really liked what it was trying to do and what it was. The kind of blend that it was trying to bring to the table and not just, make it a genre film, but also create some emotional philosophical depth. And Kavin's performance really worked for me. I really think this year has been very good for him, both in terms of star and this. He gave extraordinary performances. I think.
Asha, I think your connection seems slightly patchy. We hear your voice just fine, but the visuals seem slightly
frozen.
pixelated. Yeah. Yes,
That's-
I am actually on Wi-Fi, I think. Is it better now? Like, am I back? No?
We can hear you
No, yeah,
perfectly,
we can
but
hear you.
We can
just fine.
hear you. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I don't know what the problem is. I'm on Wi-Fi only. Should I try reconnecting or something, or is it fine enough for me to go on?
No, we see you as a series of images.
Frames.
yeah,
Yeah.
slideshow. But we can perfectly hear you, so I think
it's because
should
I'm
be-
getting a. Is it better?
Oh, it's on phone, but you're flipped. If you can just.
But,
No, one
but the
second,
video
one
is
second.
back.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's fine.
back.
Yeah. Is it better now? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was getting the phone and it was on D&D, so I didn't know. What I was saying was I really liked Bloody Beggar, which was, I think I was in the minority where, a lot of people didn't really enjoy that film. I really did. It really worked on most counts for me. I found it entertaining and I liked the blend it was trying to bring. It wasn't taking it was not taking my attention for granted. I really had no expectations watching that film. I got it on OTT, which was like way late. So I wasn't even actually expecting to, sit and finish it in one stretch. But I actually ended up doing that. I didn't feel like getting up, or I was just actually quite engrossed. And definitely Kavin's here this year. He's given 2 really good performances. I really liked him in Star as well, even though the film didn't really work for me. It was a mixed bag. And even in Bloody Beggar, I think he's really getting that, the meter that he's chosen for this performance, which is caricaturish, but also very emotional at points. To get that balance is not easy at all. Where, you for the most time, you're laughing at this character. But at points, you really, really feel for what he's going through, and I think he's definitely an actor to watch out for. And so is this director. Yeah.
I'll just say interesting again. But bang on about Kevin.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should save your interesting comment for what is about to come.
Oh, okay.
We have really hyped it up. We have-
Wait,
no.
does anyone want to take a guess?
You're making a very unusual, brave choice. Go for it. Yeah.
No, but in
Yes,
a good or
sir.
a bad?
Yeah, in a good or a bad way.
I think I'm in the minority that I did not mind this film.
Okay.
But the world,
Tamil thaane, I mean, it's not a multilingual film.
No roundtable has mentioned it. Asha, you and I have definitely not. Nobody even.
Is it
most
Romeo?
people don't even- Nah.
Vetian?
Was it this year? Vijay Anthony's film, right?
It was
Yeah.
Was this year? Okay, I thought the premise was interesting though. Yeah.
Ratnam?
No. Okay.
Come on, Raunaq, this shooting is a.
I know, right? Nah, so Joshua, right? Gautam Menon's film.
I haven't watched
Okay.
it.
Seriously? No, yeah, I think
There you
you,
go. See,
you were right in saying I have to reserve my interesting for it. Interesting,
See, there you go.
definitely.
So here's making a small case for it. I don't
Yeah.
think it was seen for what it was. I'm not saying this was revolutionary cinema. Not saying this was the filmmakers, better work. All I'm saying is that with many filmmakers aspiring for bigger and better and constantly going upwards in terms of scale, I liked that one of our most established filmmakers chose to work with something smaller, whatever be the reasons. Here's, this film is essentially saying, here's 1 week of a man interested to keep a woman safe. And then, I thought the fights were very intimately choreographed. They were in very cramped spaces. And this was a film that was very small, no bullshit, no flab, nothing. Just a very small premise done in a very no-nonsense way, I thought. And, having encountered some of the other films of the year, if I look back, what I'm thinking, yeah, it was okay.
Is it there on any OTT? Do you know if it's there?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure. I could check and let you know.
I'm not sure actually. I don't know.
I'd like to watch it if it's there. Yeah.
Some in the chat says, I like Dhruva Nachatiram.
That film that hasn't even come out yet.
Yeah, the film that I think entire of Tamil Nadu is waiting for.
I don't know
It's been
how
1 year
long it is.
of the release date announcement again.
More than a year actually.
Wasn't he supposed to release
in
and
November last
the
year.
release date he said again it's
Yeah.
postponed, right?
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, right? Very sad. I mean, I
it
remember
is,
doing a
it is.
pre-release interview of the film also. Like,
Yeah, it's not even
we
a joke
really thought
anymore.
it would come.
It's just really sad.
No,
It's
what's
just
the-
sad, man.
What's the problem? Is it
Yeah.
money or there's some legal thing or like?
It is money. It is
Okay.
money. Yeah.
They're not able to release it. I think it's ready.
Yeah.
I think releasing takes you have to pay back certain people and then they'll release the KDM and all of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Unless you get NOCs from like all people involved, I don't think it'll be possible to. Yeah.
A film I want to talk about quickly is one. People like a lot of people told me they loved the film, but I was like, I didn't like the twist. Raayan with Dhanush, that whole brother twist, I just didn't. It just didn't work for me. It just fell flat from there. But the making was really great, and the other film is actually
Agreed.
Goat. What
Yeah.
I
Goat,
love.
I don't think it's
Which
a.
category again? What is this category?
This is the I'm in the
yeah.
I'm in the
Minority.
minority.
But
But
Yeah.
what are you in the minority for?
So I actually enjoyed the film more than maybe many because I loved
Okay.
how we actually got a evil villain who never changes. Like there's no good turn for him, and the concept of bringing that. And I hate the post-credit sequence, which makes it like there's a multiple. I just hated that. But just the whole idea that throughout the film, at the end, he just becomes more evil, and there's no coming back from this point. And I love that we got to see at least Vijay able to do a full negative role without any, trying to be a hero or has to do all of that. So that idea, able to get that. The story plot, I don't really care, but yeah, just to have that feeling, like I just wonder how many other big heroes could even pull it, right? So that part I really
I'll
enjoyed.
tell you one thing, Nona, you're a very smart YouTuber.
Okay, I need to decode that. But we haven't talked about a film, Vidhuthalai Part 2, which didn't have subtitles. So
Okay.
yeah. Anyways, yeah. Anyone wants to talk about it?
Vidhuthalai was
Yeah,
a mixed
sure.
bag for me. It was, I think probably, I really liked what the film was trying to say, but I wasn't a fan of how it said it. I think, and being Vetri's fan, watching Vetrimaran's filmography, he's a great filmmaker, such astounding, control over his craft. This film didn't feel like his film, you've seen these issues crop up in his previous films, but the narrative is so strong there that you're willing to sort of overlook all of that and then just get into the, story and the drama and the emotion of it. But here, when that falters, it's really hard for you to look past the other, niggles that are there, whether it in terms of the choppy editing or the dubbing issue, like lip sync issues and all that. So, so for me, it was a bit of a disappointment because because it was Vetrimaran and it was one of my most expected films this year. Just because I wanted to see a Vetrimaran film again, and it didn't really live up to that extent. But I really, it also talking like now that I've said the negatives, what the film talks about is something that no other film has actually touched upon so openly. Even for Tamil cinema, which is like known for its, political stances and, where directors have open political voices and they're willing to touch these, issues and like make very thoughtful, sensitive films about it. So even for an industry like Tamil cinema, the places where Vidhuthalai goes, and I mean not just two, like 1 and 2, is very new. It's not done before and it has to be done, is very relevant also. But having said all this, as I said earlier, I think it could have been, it just felt like the choices he made was more suited for a web series than an actual film. Like if he wanted to, flesh out the narrative so much, I would love to see the extended version that's supposedly coming on the OTT platform. I think ZFi or something. I'm not sure which platform it is. Where the total content is about 8 hours, including both films. Wow. I would actually prefer to watch that version, because this felt very rushed. I wasn't able to get into that story at all, because I don't know if they want to bring it into a certain timeline or whatever reason it might be. But it was just all over the place. I think that, that was, I'm really looking forward to catching that OTT version so that I can see what Vetri had originally imagined and planned, and see what he wanted to really say. Yeah.
So I thought there was more thought than emotion. I thought there were more words than feelings. There is great utility to the words. Yes, absolutely. The whole idea of the formation of a rebel, right? How does a conforming guy suddenly turn into the resistance? These are great ideas. And he's talking about the cyclical nature of how, as long as you keep oppressing, those constantly fighting against the oppression are going to keep emerging. Leader figures are constantly, following one another. Teachers forming into teachers creating more teachers out of their students, and all of that. There is great value in the theory. But a film isn't supposed to be just a theory. It's supposed to work emotionally, right? The storytelling, I'm not really sure. There was just I think by now you probably heard it. There's way too much talking, less doing, and it's a bit strange for a veterinarian film. But yeah, like Asha said, undeniable moments of glory in the film. Definitely. The love portion and then the beginning really worked for me. I thought the action sequence in the first half was incredibly well choreographed. That was really memorably done. So yeah. Anyway, yeah. So that's the long and short of it.
Yeah, I have nothing new to add. Okay. It's exactly the same thing. Exactly the same.
So Joshua is actually on Amazon Prime, the chat says. That's great.
Okay.
Akhil wants me to get the fully filmed OCD t-shirt. Okay, I'll look into it.
Nice.
I am a CSK fan. Yeah. There was a big issue in the film, okay? And what the trend of part 2s. Okay. I think there's no point talking about that. So before coming to the last question, there's just few films I saw, but we didn't talk much about it. That's Lover, Maharaja, and Goat and Vetian if you want. Yeah, but anything? One line?
Goat and Vetian, is it?
Yeah.
Goat and Vetian. What was the last film you mentioned?
Vetian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Goat, I think you sufficiently covered it.
Yeah.
Very flat.
I think, Lover is definitely one of those films, especially people in the chat. If you've not watched Lover, please go watch it. I think it was one of the really good films to come out of Tamil cinema this year. Definitely in my top 5, in terms of everything. The kind of premise they took, and, the way it was handled. And how there was equal sympathy and empathy for both characters, and how there's in general how do I say, there's a thin line between reprimanding something for something that they've done and canceling them. I think that film really handled this line very well, where it looked at this character as a human being who made a lot of mistakes, but at one point he realizes it and wants to unlearn all of that, and it sort of didn't pull its punches in calling it out, but also later when he unlearns it, didn't sort of put him on a cross for making those mistakes. I think that's a very very tough balance to crack, and I think the film did that well.
I think
in terms of writing,
which interestingly is something very similar to something that Vetian does as well, right? But probably not as effectively. But the idea of a protagonist realizing his own mistakes and sort of realizing that he was on the wrong road. But once he realizes that, I think the film sort of falls away. But until then, I just thought it was a neat little way to bring in Vetian as well, since you wanted us to mention it.
Yeah.
And Maharaja?
Maharaja, I am not a huge fan of. I think I've spoken about this in multiple platforms on multiple. Just because of the way it handles sexual violence and how it uses sexual violence as a constant trope or a gimmick for some male characters, either elevation or guilt. That I don't think was fair to the survivor in the film, and I don't think it was very hard to watch that. It almost feels like, the trauma of being harassed and violated was just invisible, because it's constantly shown in a way where it's used to hype up the male hero or to induce guilt in the antagonist. So, so I wasn't a huge fan of Maharaja.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So I
probably
think,
one of those films I was in the minority for. Yeah.
Actually, I think Maharaja has great value in terms of the dramatic spaces it operates in. I think I mean, I've only seen films like this in Korean cinema, I think, largely, which stick to the genre, which do not flinch from getting into really deep, dark spaces in terms of characters and, the profound emotional ways in which they can be destroyed. I think this was very unusual because it wasn't cutting corners. It was willing to go the whole way in terms of, if I'm giving you pain, then let this be gut-wrenching pain, for the protagonist, for the antagonist. It was doing all of this. And there was a strange sort of, just in terms of the writing, there was a strange yin and yang thing going on with both these characters. There was a strange poetry in how it ends. And I'm strictly talking about in terms of how the story is constructed. And I think there is value to it as a screenplay also in terms of what it achieves.
The non-linearity,
and a great performance, a phenomenal performance by Vijay Sethupathi for sure.
I think the non-linearity doesn't feel like a gimmick, where I think if you place the scenes in order, it still works. So, it's not like
and that point when the timeline, you realize that this is a different timeline. I've not seen that much. I've not seen that happen much in our films, right? When you use non-linearity as like a twist. A twist is always that something happens in the plot. Someone kills someone betrays someone or something. But this timeline shit was like really, and the entire theater like went back on the first day. Like entire Satyam theater went like that.
I would actually suggest to watch Korakabomai for everyone in the chat, and like Nona, if you haven't watched it.
Same director's first film, right?
Same director's first film, which I actually like much better than Maharaja, which has some of what we're talking here. It's a very well written film. It engages with it dabbles in non-linear format and all.
Clearly you can tell on the basis of both films that he has a voice. I mean, he has a very specific way of doing things.
And it also has a moral question in center. All that elements that we're talking about was also there, and I really like that film. So probably a recommendation for the people on chat also, if they've not really caught it.
As,
I'm pretty sure it's
as
on
Raunaq
streaming,
would
if
say,
I'm right.
interesting.
Akhil says, Sudhir, has anyone told you that you look like Rana Daggubati?
Oh, I do? Okay. I mean, my full version probably doesn't, but the face probably does. Someday I want to get there, though. Let's see. Thank you so much if you meant it as a compliment.
I hope so. So any other non-Tamil film, like just one film top of your mind, which like really stayed with you this year?
That's all Malayalam films. So, like
Malayalam really had a banger year this year.
Yeah.
Everything. Like, I don't know if there was anything bad that I watched. I'm sure there are other films also that exist. That's like one common complaint, that we only get to see Malayalam films that they choose to release outside. Which really connects.
The best.
This is where we needed Vishal, I think.
No, I've also seen few bad ones.
He would have definitely said that. No, but I actually want to bring a non-Malayalam film that I recently caught on streaming. Girls Will Be Girls. It's mostly English. Has a dabble, like a smatter of Hindi, but it's a very, very, very good film, I feel. Very, very well done, very nuanced, and we keep talking about how we want, at least I personally I'm someone who wants a lot of films from the female gaze, trying to understand, that try to tell stories that we don't really see, with the authenticity it deserves. When it comes from women filmmakers, it sort of gets that, I don't know how to say it, but this additional level of depth that we somehow, this perspective that we were not used to seeing. So this film, I think, also because could be recency bias, but it's a very, very good film. I caught it just day before yesterday, and it's constantly been in my mind. The way that film just unfolded, the nuance and also the innocence of it. It was just very, very human, and I really like that. Yeah, so.
It also breaks the norm, right? That a girl exploring her sexuality, someone would, she's not good in studies, or she's the, backbencher. But here it's the head girl actually. Kind of breaks that structure also,
that was actually a pet peeve. It's a pet peeve of mine, Generally when people say, hey, you have to focus completely on studies, not have a life otherwise. My first question is, what makes you think that not having a life will make you good at studies? So it's not really there's a way that you can do both. But that definitely breaks that trope. And I think what it really does is, examine and explore intergenerational patterns, especially with women, because I think that's a very, the way my mom looked at life is very different from the way my party looked, my grandma looked. And it's very different from the way I will look at it. There's always this level of progression where, where I can personally say I had a very cool mom, who was very okay and very liberal in a lot of ways, because she faced certain things in her childhood. And I know for her generation, my party was very cool. The barrier keeps...
envelope keeps getting pushed.
It gets a step higher. But there's also this battle when that happens, right? Where the responsibility of taking that choice is solely put upon you. So if something goes wrong, you will be questioned, you will be framed, or you will be criticized and all that. So this entire thing is something we've not seen in Indian cinema at all. At least as far as I know. If there are, films that examine this, I would love to watch it. But this film does that very, very well.
I don't know. June is I don't know.
June is good. June is good, but I think it doesn't. It's a coming of age film, right? It does that part very well. June does that part well, but this intergenerational dynamics, I don't think it really comes across that much in June. But which is also a good film. If people haven't watched it, you can go watch it.
I saw this film last year called Hi God, It's Me, Margaret.
Oh yeah.
That's also.
Are You There, God? It's Me.
Are You There, God?
Are You There, God? It's Me.
I would say Girls Should Be Girls is like the vibe wise is like a Call Me By Your Name, but with the female protagonist and her exploring her sexuality.
Yeah.
The vibe, not the story.
Lady Bird, right? If I'm not.
Oh, that's a magnificent film,
It's something.
Lady Bird. Lady Bird or sort of a subtle, more solemn version. I think Lady Bird is konjam vibrant in terms of the way it plays out. I think this is much more moody, but
and
more
in Indian context,
sober zone.
So if I had to recommend a couple of international work, then I think this is the year that Furiosa came out, right? I remember thoroughly enjoying it. I'm not sure if too many people remember.
I don't know why people didn't like it. I didn't know why it didn't work.
I thought it was furiously entertaining for sure. Lots of depth and beyond just the action, there is so many more layers to the film, and I think there's great joy there. I had the opportunity of watching this film called The Substance as well.
You even interviewed,
Nice plug.
That's why he said I'm a good YouTuber.
I think. But if I had to mention an Indian film that's not Malayalam, then Asha heard me mention this somewhere else. Just so they don't peg us critics as being very offbeat cinema lovers. Saripoda Sanivaram, I thought had great value. I thought the opening portions of the film especially were a rush. The formation of how this child becomes like a superhero sort of figure. I thought that was all brilliantly done. Great value, I think.
Yeah. I just want to add, since non-Malayalam films, we forget to give credit to Hindi cinema because of how recently, not performing, but they've not really had the best decade or last 5 years or something like that. Right? Chamkila for me, it really worked for me.
Best
I almost lost hope on Imtiaz Ali because it's really heartbreaking, right? Like how you see Shankar, though that fall was not as much as Shankar, Imtiaz Ali has not been having a great time at the movies with Love Aajkal 2, Jab Harry Met Sejal, all of that stuff, right? And then he makes this, I think this is like the story he wanted to tell for a very long time. He finally got to make it the way he wanted to, and how it just flows, how it just flows with the music and all the animation.
So relevant.
And everything. Yeah, it's so relevant. It will always be relevant. It will always be there. Yeah. So
I like how it goes above just being a biopic. It wants to be more than, it wants to be a conversation about
that's the thing, right? So the thing about biopics is that sometimes it's like, because it is a real person, you're expected to like it, or you should not say anything negative about it because he's done some amazing things and all that. But this film, I didn't know anything about this person that much, right? Amar Singh Chamkila, no offense to Punjabis or Sikhs or anything.
Even I didn't know, so it's okay.
Okay, then cool. Right. But it's so emotional, and it just from the first moment, the way it's told, like with what is that first song? I forgot what it's called, but just banger for me.
There's an amazing comment in the chat. All we imagine is Rana.
What?
If Sudhir shaved his head, he might look like Oscar Isaac in Ex Machina.
Excellent. You know what? I don't mind staying here for another hour. Let's keep talking.
Should public reviews be banned? In my opinion, yes. Okay. Maybe for some other time, guys. So let's wrap. Last question, final question. What are you looking forward to 2025? Especially for Tamil cinema.
Can I go?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. I want to stick to a mainstream choice here. Coolie, I think, because Lokesh makes great cinema, has a great flair for the medium with the sensibilities, but with a rooted knowledge of our cinema and what's traditionally worked here. Given his understanding of hero moments, I am excited to see what he's going to do with Mr. Rajnikant, who thrives when these tasteful moments are created for his persona, right? And with the films like Indian 2, Kanguva, no offense to you, Nona, but Goat, not really living up as great cinema this year. It feels like we deserve one of these big screen experiences, one of these big entertainers that really works well across the board. And if I had to mention just a couple of quick films, then I would mention Mari Selvaraj's Bison, which I think is scheduled for release next year. And I am also very excited that Mr. Bala is coming out with a film as well. I've long been an admirer of his work, and I can't wait to see what he's come up with this time.
Nice.
Interesting.
For the last pick.
Sorry? Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll go with the first obvious choice is Thug Life. Mani Ratnam, Kamal Haasan coming back after 40 years. Nothing more needs to be said. But second thing, this is after the title teaser came out, right? I really want retro to work. Right? Surya has not had a good decade. It's not been there. But it's really wholesome to see, like my entire Twitter timeline is just full of retro fan posters, retro edits, retro this, that. So people are really digging it, right? People are really digging it. Just if the film lives up, then hopefully this will be like a new chapter for Surya. Really.
Are you doing the merchandise for the film?
No, not yet. Not yet, at least.
Nice plug.
We did Indian 2 and all also. No. It's not because of that.
Nice plug.
No, I know. I'm just joking.
I think, definitely. I think I'll stick with Raunaq, on a pan-Indian scale or like on a multi-language level. I think Thug Life is definitely something to look forward to, just because it's Mani Ratnam, Kamal Haasan and AR are coming together. And
Simbu.
And Simbu. Yeah, true. Absolutely true. Just those names being in one film together is so exciting, for me.
I think
so definitely that. And
I think just wanting to be a bit guarded, I think, especially with respect to Kamal Haasan making a comeback with a director with whom he's made a legendary film after so many years. I think there's a reason to be slightly underplaying it.
Why did he say
no,
it?
but no. No, but I'm hoping. I feel at least Mani Ratnam's not really. How do I say it? I think he's
tapered away. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's. I really admire Mani Ratnam for sort of reinventing himself with as times pass. Like I think that's his probably our equivalent of a Spielberg. Or a Ridley Scott, the kind of longevity he's had at the cinemas and the kind of diverse genres that he's handled with, and all with, good amount of success is very hard to achieve. So I think
absolutely. Great filmmaker, much to be excited about was just
yeah. No, I know. I also want to be cautiously optimistic. I really want that film to be good. And then there's obviously Retro, because I think Surya is an amazing actor. And I don't think his the films that recently have come out have really explored him or used him in the right way. So I think this could probably be the film that shows the full extent of what he can do as an actor and as a star. And I don't know.
And Karthik is a fantastic filmmaker as well.
Yeah. And also there's this small Tamil film that I'm personally really looking forward to after the title teaser is Tourist Family. I'm not sure if it has subtitles or it will be dubbed in other languages, but just the premise of that film seems extremely interesting and fresh, and like it's one of those teasers that made me laugh out loud, and like I watched it multiple times and I laughed again and again. I think that's not happened in a very long time, so I'm definitely looking forward to that film.
It was a long trailer, but it didn't feel like that, right? People are cutting like 5 minute trailers, and just 10 seconds is really difficult. This looks really rooted. It looks really genuine.
Yeah. What about Vikram's
Talking about teasers that worked, I was just going to say Arun Kumar's film also looks really good. And he made a great film with his last one. So much to be excited about there.
Nalan was also a return of Nalan Kumarasamy.
So this year is going to be big. I don't know about box office.
It already feels like it.
Yeah.
But just the lineup and everything is going to release in this year. It looks like crazy. I don't know if we have enough screens. So
Ram's Yedu Kadal Yedu Malai.
It's supposed to release this year.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's releasing in February, is it? If I'm right.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah, I remember seeing it being on February. But it's a film that's I don't know if it will be very mainstream or it will be I don't know, but I'm a huge fan of Ram. Like Peranbu.
Did you guys love Peranbu?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
It's among
for
my
me,
most favorite films.
Peranbu is probably on the list of my all-time favorite Tamil films. It'll definitely be there. It's just one of those films that I think you should just carve it somewhere and preserve it for like posterity kind of a film. And Ram's another filmmaker who's sort of evolved with each film. Like not that it's not that the previous stage was bad or anything, but you can see that he's grown as a creator, or he's evolved as a creator, and his voice is sort of fine-tuned, and like it's like wine, right? It gets better as it goes. So I really feel like Ram is one of those voices.
Nona may not appreciate that comment, but
okay, whatever. Some other analogy.
Whatever gets better with time.
Whatever gets better with time. So,
what do you want to watch Nona?
Yeah, what do you
No,
want
I
to
have
watch?
the similar list. Coolie, Thug Life, and even the Vikram film. Someone talked about Surga Vassal, which came out this year, right?
Surga
The
Vasal.
trailer was really
Yeah,
interesting.
it already came out. Yeah.
Yeah, the trailer was really
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Prison film. Kubera.
It's on Netflix now, so
Yeah, I'll check it out.
yeah.
I've yet to watch. We haven't talked about that film, Thangalaan. I've yet to watch
Thangalaan,
it.
oh,
So
yeah.
all
I
right.
really like that film. Again, one of those films I'm in the minority for.
Okay. I think even
Yeah.
Sudhir liked it.
I thought it was a mixed bag for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate what Ranjit is trying to do. I mean, the form is great. He's trying to experiment with the genres. It moves from one genre to another without being bound by rules of what it should be. But that also results in a rather interesting experience, to use Raunaq's word. So yeah. But it's a long conversation because Ranjit is an important filmmaker, and this isn't a film that you can easily just communicate 2 quick lines about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we have crossed 2 hour mark now, and
Yeah.
I hope it was.
Yeah, I hope you'll pay us OD.
I hope you had a good time. The chat definitely did. They are still buzzing with a lot of things. But guys, we'll wrap it up here. It was a great time, great talking with you guys. I was able to catch a lot of Tamil films, so I thought we should definitely do this so we can discuss more about them and in English.
No, it's really
because
nice to have nice to have an outsider perspective to the industry, and really
Plus,
glad that Yeah.
I didn't think that a virtual conversation could be as immersive or fun.
Yeah.
We've done this like 3-4 times, like for 3-4 years.
Yeah.
But I think this
Yeah.
time
Nice.
we had so much more to say, and then there was not like it just flowed, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun. Yeah.
I've learned to make
same
it
here.
short, but still it goes too long.
No, it's okay.
It's okay.
Thanks to all of you, and thanks to Vishal as well for being with us.
Yeah.
And definitely next time, hopefully we can do this in person, so that'll be more fun.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
have some good food, right? Because you're too long.
Yeah, we'll wait for you to. No, we'll all wait for you to take us to Goa. Organize the whole thing, do a video.
On it. So thank you so much, and I hope everyone loved it. And definitely check them out on social media. Check their work. I'm sure you usually do. But thank you for joining, and again, have a good night, and have a good New Year.
Happy New Year.
Good New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy
Good
New Year
night.
to
Bye-bye.
everyone. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Cool.
All right. See you.
Nona, see you. Good night.
Good night.
We'll text later. Yeah.
Sure.
Are you're at home only?
Yeah.
You're not doing anything for New Year, not going out anywhere, since everyone is coming to Goa.
Yeah, it's too crowded.
Yeah, that's right. Cool, man.
All right, man. See you. Bye.
That was a great one. Bye.
Bye. All right, chat. I usually end the stream right there, but I just thought I'll stay back for a few minutes because a lot of chats, and it's very hard, when there's people there, everyone's adding things and to take each and every chat, that's not possible. Anyways, it went for 2 hours, so I had to just see what is like. Nani, you were really active. I loved the jokes you had, and everyone else in the chat, Mr. DB, Atish, Good Soul, Shrikesh. I didn't ask about Love Insurance Company, sorry. Telugu Roundtable, guys, I haven't seen enough Telugu films this year, and there's no point of inviting those people and them talking about films and I have no clue about them, so I don't think that would be possible. There is a video where talking about, like I do every year, talking about every film I saw this year, ranking them all together. So if you have seen those, last few years, so you will, know what I'm talking about. And it's a fun video. It will come on hopefully 31st. And this is a Malayalam, not roundtable. I'm doing Malayalam something different. You'll know tomorrow. And there's also best of Malayalam movies list coming, because again I saw a lot of Malayalam films, so I could make a ranking list. And again, thank you for those likes, 122 likes. Thanks a lot. Thank you for everyone who joined, and I hope you had a fun time listening to this conversation. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Please talk to Vishal from social. Definitely we can suggest good Telugu movies. Definitely let me know in the comments. If I have not seen, I'll definitely check them out. There's always, you can go over to the next year and still watch films from this year. That's always there. But I did a good job, and you had fun listening to the discussion. And I'll end the poll also. I said, how much will you rate Tamil cinema? And with 39%, it's 7 to 9 between that wins. So that was the poll. And I think even the panelists would kind of was 6 to 7, 8, somewhere there. My college mates are having a trip now. Rishikesh will be in Goa for a new year. Are great, amazing. Have a good time. It's too crowded right now, too much traffic. So try not to move around. Have a one destination, just stay there. That's my tip. But again, guys, thank you for joining. Now, I made a video this year talking about why Tamil cinema hasn't gone pan India. If you haven't seen that video, right on screen, click it and check it out. And I made some interesting points, and we also talked about that here in this live stream, the start of it. So yeah, definitely check it out, and I will see you next time. See ya, good night, and not a new year, still videos coming, so wait for them.